Welcome back to the SAS learning sessions. My name is Naga Vimprala. Today we are going to cover an important topic in SAS, which is to read multiple files in a particular folder. It can be multiple files, or even if you have just one file, this particular approach will work. So basically we are going to cover 6 functions we use to read the files by name in SAS. Those functions are file name, dopen, dread, dnum, mopen, and dclose. Here today we are going to cover the concept of reading the file names under the directory using macros, but we can implement the same thing in data step as well. So let us have a quick look at what each function does. File name. File name creates a reference using the directory location whatever we mention, and a file reference will be captured using the file name. And dopen opens the directory for read, and dread is to individually read the files by giving the um, reference of file number, or we can give the reference or you can give the name. um, like Here we are going to give the reference by count. So if we have 5 files, we are going to read one by one. So the reference will be first for the first file. It's first one is the reference we'll give, and then 2, 3, 4, like that. We will be able to read all the files. And dnum gives the total count of files under the uh, folder or directory. mopen is used to read the directory structures within the directory, and if it is returned as 0, then it's not a directory, it is a file itself. So basically, to read directories within the directory and files within the directory of subdirectories, we use mopen. Today we are not going to cover mopen at least, but it's again a simple function which you can do hands on your own. And final function is dclose, to close the directory whatever we have opened. So the first, let us go into the macro. As we are going with the macro approach, I have created a small macro file read, and I gave the location, the directory from which we are trying to read the files today. This is the output directory. Here we can see I have 5 files here under this directory. So my requirement today is to print, display all the file names present in the folder. So once we know the file name, we can read it in any data step, or even we can based on the file name we can do a lot of other logic. So basically this particular approach gives us a feasibility to read individual files and do some manipulations on the data. So that secondary portion anyway we need not worry. So our only requirement is to display all the file names present in the folder. So let us start with the first function, which is a file name function. We are capturing the reference into a macro variable my file. So for that I have declared a macro variable. So into this macro variable I am capturing the file reference. So once the return code of this function is success, which is 0, RC is equal to 0, then I am going to get the message as read successful, and then I will further proceed to open the directory using dopen function. For this dopen, I am passing the directory structure, or even we can pass the file reference. That is the file reference I am passing. So here I am capturing the file reference and I am opening the directory by passing the file reference. Again I am capturing the return code. If the return code is equal to 0, then there is something wrong with the way in which we are trying to open the directory. So the directory open is not successful. Then I am going to capture the message into message using the sys message function. If the read is successful, That means the directory is opened, then we will be getting a reference into return code. So the return code will be the RC, we will be getting a directory reference. So once we get the directory reference, based on the directory reference, we can read the number of files. We can get the number of files using the dnum function. So the directory reference, if it is greater than 0 or some value, based on the directory reference, I am capturing the total files that are present in the directory into macro variable total files. So I am displaying the total files, and a simple do loop I have included here. So from the first file to the total files present, I am incrementing one by one. So this one by one is to pass the iteration here to read one file at a time. So as I have mentioned previously, for the dread function, we have to pass the directory reference and the reference number. So which is nothing but 1, 2, 3 like that. I am passing. So dread returns the file name which I am capturing in file underscore n. Based on our requirement, once we get the file name, we can process the individual file like the way we do in SAS steps. Either in the data we can data step we can read the file using the appropriate in file and other parameter file structure and all, so which we are not covering here. Only we have to worry about the file name. So I'm capturing the file name. I'm printing all the file names one by one within this loop. So once the loop ends, I'm closing the directory structure using dclose. And first of all, if the file itself is not present, the location whatever we are giving itself is not correct, I have to capture a message saying that the read failed, and the message also I am capturing and displaying in the log. So if I run the if I run the macro, I basically what I should see is all the file names displayed with the count, and on top of it I have to get this total files count and a message saying that the read is successful. So let us run the code now. Yes, I got a message saying that the read is successful. Total files 5 and individual files they are displayed here. So this is the way we are printing. So I think the way it is printing is the file creation date. So let us see when the session 3 is created. It's created on December 17th, and let us see when session 6 HTML is created. It's created on December 23rd. So based on the date when the file is created, all the files are read and displayed into the log. So this is a powerful functionality present. We have this feature from 9.2 version onwards in SAS, and very helpful and very useful functions we have in SAS to read all the files within a particular directory. So that's all we have today. Thank you. Signing off.